Hi, it's Michael DiDomenico from SleepWorld Magazine. React Health and ReactDX, ReactDX, unveil new joint mission and vision statements to drive future growth and innovation. And here to tell us more about that is their Chief Medical Officer, Dr. Colleen Lance. Welcome, Dr. Lance.
Thanks for the invitation, Michael. Excited to be here.
Good to have you here. So tell us about the new developments, how you're bringing these two divisions together, these two separate companies. I know because sort of a compound question here, we haven't seen a whole lot from ReactDX, and curious of how you're bringing the two entities together, what this means for React as a whole.
Well, in a very short time period, Michael, we've taken multiple companies and multiple brands and brought together under the helm of both React Health and ReactDX, with React Health being our therapeutic line and ReactDX being our diagnostic line. So people first think about React Health for our PAP devices, and ReactDX actually handles diagnostics for both cardiac remote patient monitoring and home sleep apnea testing. And in the words of our new CEO, Bill Shoop, we've taken the house of many brands and we are building a branded house. You know, we've taken multiple companies that were quite talented and brought them in under one house. And part of our mission and vision statement is creating and presenting seamless answers to current challenges in the healthcare field today.
I think a lot of people in the market thought that React Health was really just a CPAP company and sort of the new 3B medical, but there's a whole lot more there and many different product lines. Can you elaborate on those?
Oh, yes. And part of our vision is to present end-to-end solutions for patients and providers. And starting with our PAP line, a lot of people associate us with 3B. We had two investors who bought 3B. We then quickly moved, and remember, this was a very short time ago and during pandemic and a very large device recall and supply chain issues where we were rapidly filling a need across the country. But then we pivoted and came out with our newer device, the G3 platform, and then a very innovative database platform for compliance and adherence tracking under the development with Greg Polis's team and called React Health Connect, which in my opinion is the foremost database platform in adherence tracking for our patient population. And then moving even beyond that, in that thought of end-to-end care for the patients, being able to have CPAP, BiPAP, BiPAP ST, and of note, our BiPAP ST machine has tidal volume, which is very impressive and fills a niche in the non-invasive ventilation realm. But we even go beyond that. With our acquisition of Ventec, we were able to bring on a wealth of experience of engineers that I would say it's some of the most experienced engineers in the field, all working together to take the ventilators that, if you remember during the pandemic, when there were ventilator shortages, you would turn on the news and see the GM factory cranking out cars on one line and ventilators on the other to fulfill a need. But then our engineers, once they came on board with us at React Health, were able to create an even more robust product line and have added innovations such as IntelliPAP, which was based on some acquired IP. We were able to add to the ventilator line auto-adjusting EPAP, and we were very quickly responsive to what providers were telling us that they needed. In addition to that, there's a brand new code for a new device that we have. It's a ventilator that has built-in cough assist, and it has its own billing code, again, responding to the needs brought to us by providers for their patients. There's also an incredibly robust line of masks. A lot of people don't realize that we have masks for both hospital and home, and our home PAP device mask interfaces are very robust, with our most recent Rio 2 being quite the hit, and we have a couple more masks soon to come.
Not too long
It
ago, React acquired Invicare's oxygen line. What does that look like now, and how are you servicing your patients with that?
it means, you've got one-stop shopping, and you have everything that a patient would need, so for your ventilatory needs. So we were able to acquire the O2 therapy lines, and this includes, standing oxygen concentrators, portable oxygen concentrators, even home fill. So we've got multiple solutions for what our providers and DMEs are looking for their patients.
You've got a great focus on the patient and your DMEs, obviously, but the
Mhm.
patient is really at the center of care here. How do you respond to their needs? What are you doing to make sure you're fulfilling everything the patients need out there and doing the best job you can for them?
Listening and partnering. One of the first tasks I was given when I joined as CMO was building an advisory board. Central to our advisory board is a patient advocate. So Emma Cooksey sits right in the center of our advisory board with very robust input, and she queries her population and brings us and interacts with us regularly on what patients are saying and requesting. And our listening and partnering with providers and DMEs and being as interactive as possible and responding to what they tell us. For instance, React Health Connect, many people associate React Health with iCode Connect. That was the old way of talking to devices that came with 3B. We now have our new platform, one of the most robust out there. But an important piece of this is how responsive Greg Polis's team is. I hear weekly updates of things that they are changing to improve and align with what patients and providers are asking for.
There's a tremendous amount of collaboration going on here. Are there other
Mhm.
partnerships that you have that are leading to even greater growth and success for patients?
Well, and this is something that sets us apart from others in industry. We understand that we can't create it all. Now, we do have very robust research and development, both in Bothell, Washington for our ventilator line and manufacturing, as well as our research and development in Dublin, Ohio. Just happens to be 4 miles from my house, so I love to run over there and see what's going on. However, we're not going to be able to start from ground zero and reinvent the wheel. This is where partnerships are key. And the prime example of this is our partnerships with Enzo Data. As an example, with all the wonderful things that Enzo Data has been working on, and they have the best reputation in our field and most experienced when it comes to the use of AI,
Mm.
one of the applications we're using now is taking our compliance platform and powering it with Enzo data. And at this moment, this is presented to the DMEs and rolled out to the DMEs to be able to work through their databases in a much more efficient fashion and allowing their both their administrators as well as their respiratory therapists ease with doing their jobs. In other words, taking all of those data points and being able to sort them and find the patients who need the most attention and to prioritize them and to really put them in an order that it would make sense to address the needs.
So ReactDX is a separate company under the React umbrella. Tell us more about their product offerings and what we can expect to see from them in the future.
ReactDX really allows us to execute on our mission for end-to-end care and being able in an innovative fashion reach patient populations in an affordable fashion and in a convenient fashion at home. For instance, in React DX on the cardiac side of things, We know that there are a lot of patients with sleep disorders that are concomitant with underlying cardiovascular disease and arrhythmias. And we're able, with our remote patient monitoring, to reach those patient populations. And so we've partnered with cardiologists and primary care doctors to have those patients monitoring with remote cardiac telemetry, remote patient monitoring, both short term and long term, as well as event monitoring. And then on the home sleep apnea side of things, we have both our flow based home sleep apnea testing, as well as our new watch based PPG device. So we are creating opportunities to reach as many people as possible in an affordable fashion. And in a day when healthcare is so fractured and so expensive, we are finding ways to meet those challenges and to meet our patients' needs.
So you guys have a new CEO, Bill Shoop. You have a new CMO, you, Chief Medical Officer. You have a great team behind you. You're bringing all these products together. You've got some new OSA products coming. There's a tremendous amount happening at React, and I'm glad we can help tell the story. And my question is, in your background, you have React Health Institute, which I'm not familiar with at all. Can you tell us about that?
Sure. And there's another new person in the C-suite as well, our COO, Noah Chitwood, who recently joined us as well. I'm barely new anymore. I think it's been like almost a whole 8 months. Wow. So I'm like the old timer around here, but it's a sign of maturity when you see that the company is getting to the point where it's time to put down roots, to pivot, and to be prepared to take off at an exponential rate, which we already are, but to put the structure around that. And I think the timing was just perfect for Bill Shoop coming on board and Noah Chitwood coming on board. And now we have a brand new director of clinical education in Kim Applegarth, who has a wealth of knowledge. And she is helping stand up our React Health Institute. And so you can see in the corner here our brand spanking new logo. What React Health Institute, or RHI, the mission there is to be the education arm, both internally and externally. So internally, we want to be able to provide for our employees the ability to extend and speak with one voice. So being able to onboard and educate those that are coming on board. So it's a very consistent message. We're also about lifting up our employees and over time being able to give them ladders to success, and so that they are at the very forefront of their field. Also, there's an external arm to our institute. And just as an example, our ability to educate and to meet a need, for instance, with sleep technologists. If we come and visit a sleep lab, we want to bring CE opportunities to the lab because there's definitely a need there to continue the education. This is something I've been passionate about since my years as president of Texas Society of Sleep Professionals, where we're very passionate about educating our technologists. So now we're getting to do this on a much bigger platform.
Yeah, there's never enough education out there. Always good to create opportunities for sleep techs and respiratory therapists and everyone else out there. Your commitment to the market is incredible. I want to thank you for being here, Dr. Colleen Lance. Thanks so much for being here today.
And thank you for inviting me.